Alright guys, how you doing? Thought I'd do something a little different here today, and well, kind of different. I'm going to show you guys two knives that mean a hell of a lot to me, and a little bit of a story behind one of them. This is my dad in Vietnam, 1968. He served with the 25th Infantry Division from October of 1968 to October of 1969, which was some harrowing years in Vietnam. It was right after the Tet Offensive. The North Vietnamese was constantly pushing, was constantly on the offensive, so it was a tough time to be in Vietnam, and I'm really proud of my father for serving his country. He volunteered, enlisted. He was a country boy living in the mountains of Kentucky, and that's just what you did back then. You served your country, and there was no question about it. And he served in ChuChi, which, if you not familiar with it, was one of the worst parts of Vietnam. It was down in the Delta region, the Mekong Delta region, and the Vietnamese had dug tunnels all throughout the countryside because the soil was very soft. It was clay, and they dug tunnels all the way back to when they were fighting with the French as a means of getting around, hiding supplies, and just, staging attacks. And so this is where the 25th Infantry Division decided to put their base, was right on top of the main tunnel system. And in 1966, when they built the base, they kept having attacks every night. They just couldn't figure out where the enemy was coming from, They had a perimeter up. They just couldn't figure it out. Turns out they were popping up from the ground. The United States had built the biggest army base in Vietnam at the time on top of the biggest tunnel system. And the Vietnamese just had a field day, just slaughtering the U.S. Military at that base. And they could not figure out what was going on. Eventually, they did figure it out. Sent soldiers down into the tunnels, cleared most of the tunnels, not all of them. Even when my dad was there in '68, soldiers were, getting their throats slashed in the middle of the night, helicopters being blown up. At the time when he was serving there, 60 Chinook helicopters, which is the big double-bladed helicopters, 60 of them were destroyed in one night from a Vietnamese sapper attack. So that's where he served at for a whole year. And he traveled the countryside to different fire bases. Here he is at Trung Lap. He was in Tay Ninh. He was in Saigon a lot, which is where ChuChi is located. But he bought this knife in Saigon in 1968. And it's not the best knife by any means, but a 20-year-old kid in Vietnam for the first time. Actually, he lived in the mountains of Kentucky, so this was his first experience outside of his small town, and so you can imagine that. But he bought this knife. It's not the best knife, like I said, but he brought it back with him, and it survives, and now I have it. And I wouldn't give the world for it. It means so much to me. It's got such a history behind it. I played with this when I was a little kid. It's one of the first knives I ever held. Running through the woods, acting like I was John Wayne. So this knife means a hell of a lot to me. I'm not sure of the brand. It's just some cheap Vietnamese-made knife. And so, I was really heavily into the military when I was a young boy, and I wanted to join the Marines, was what I wanted to join. And I still wish I would have. It would have been a great life experience, but how things change. But for my 12th birthday, my father, he gave me this United States Marine Corps K-bar knife. And I got that for my 12th birthday. I used a hell of a lot. I mean, look, it's got a nice, it's got a lot of use to it. Hammered with it, you know, this, and I carried this knife everywhere, running through the woods, you know. Again, acting like I was John Wayne, but, you know, this knife means a hell of a lot to me, just like this knife. And there are two knives that I'll never part with, and I'll take with me to my grave. It's a reminder of my father, and, you know, what he gave for his country, and he's still giving it today. You know, psychological wise, you know, he's in and out of the VA, hospitals, groups. You know, it's something like this doesn't leave you. So this is kind of a moving tribute to my father. I'm very proud of him, and a little history behind these two knives. So, you know, support your military, guys. You know, you don't know what they go through and what they do for you, and you know, just God bless the U.S. Y'all take